Under the lights, engines roar, we're ready to go. The eSports Oval League with the best racers show. Grinding gears, chasing dreams on the virtual track. No looking in the rear view, there's no turning back. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup Series, championship and mission. The goal we all crave, speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the sky. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge. Pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge. Drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops, time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. As the tires screech, hearts pound, adrenaline's fire. Lap by lap, chasing that finish line desire. Rookies and legends all fight for the crown, but only one will take the title down. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup Series, championship and mission. The goal we all crave, speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge. Pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge. Drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge. Pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge. Drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops, time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. So here's to the racers, the Oval League's pride. Through every twist and turn we ride or die. In the Grind Cup Series we find who we are. Chasing glory and victory beneath the virtual stars. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. Racing in the Grind Cup, where legends are made. The eSports Oval League driving the arcade. Racing in the Grind Cup, where legends are made. The eSports Oval League driving the arcade. Under the lights, engines roar, we're ready to go. The eSports Oval League with the best racers show. Grinding gears, chasing dreams on the virtual track. No looking in the rear view, there's no turning back. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup Series, championship and mission. The goal we all crave, speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge. Pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge. Drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops, time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. As the tires screech, hearts pound, adrenaline's fire. Lap by lap, chasing that finish line desire. Rookies and legends all fight for the crown, but only one will take the title down. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup Series, championship and mission. The goal we all crave, speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge. Pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge. Drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor-thin edge, pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge, drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper, a split-second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the sky. So here's to the racers, the Oval League's pride. Through every twist and turn we ride or die. In the Grind Cup series we find who we are, chasing glory and victory beneath the virtual stars. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're legends of me. The esports Oval League driving the arcade. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're legends of me. The esports Oval League driving the arcade. Under the lights, engines roar, we're ready to go. The esports Oval League with the best ways to show. Grinding gears, chasing dreams on the virtual track. No looking in the rear view, there's no turning back. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup series, championship and mission. The goal we all crave, speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the sky. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor-thin edge, pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge, drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper, a split-second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. The tires screech, hearts pound, adrenaline's fire. Lap by lap, chasing that finish line desire. Rookies and legends all fight for the crown, but only one will take the title down. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup series, championship and mission. The goal we all crave, speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor-thin edge, pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge, drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper, a split-second mistake and you're going under. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor-thin edge, pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge, drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper, a split-second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the sky. So here's to the racers, the Oval League's pride. Through every twist and turn we ride or die. In the Grind Cup series we find who we are, chasing glory and victory beneath the virtual stars. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're legends of me. The esports Oval League driving the arcade. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're legends of me. The esports Oval League driving the arcade. Under the lights, engines roar, we're ready to go. The esports Oval League with the best ways to show. Grinding gears, chasing dreams on the virtual track. No looking in the rear view, there's no turning back. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup series, championship and mission. The goal we all crave, speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the sky. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor-thin edge, pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge, drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split-second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. The tires screech, hearts pound, adrenaline's fire. Lap by lap, chasing that finish line desire. Rookies and legends all fight for the crown, but only one will take the title down. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Flatout Racing Network's continued coverage of the 2025 season for the Esports Oval League Grind Cup Series. As we're getting set here to go racing for the second race of the playoffs here this evening at Iowa Speedway. Second time we've been to this racetrack. First time it was the daytime conditions. We're under the lights at the new Iowa version as we get ready to continue on this first round of the Top It Off Hot Sauce Company 2025 playoffs. I'm Seth Cole, alongside of Matthew Rodriguez, our broadcast colleague Scott Rankin, feeling under the weather here tonight. But Matt, brand new version of Iowa. We've got this nice new paved center to enter to the exit of the corner here through 1 and 2, 3 and 4. But then we get to the old surface onto the back straightaway on corner exit. How much are these drivers going to have to deal with in that regard here tonight for 215 circuits?
I can say when I was practicing out there, I was chasing that new pavement. It felt so nice, and then you got onto the old pavement, and man, that thing's bumpy, but they've added a whole bunch of new corn advertisements all the way around. I think we're in for a show tonight.
Absolutely. Getting ready tonight for what should be a good one. Pace car makes the turn on to pit road. 20 drivers going to take the green flag here in this one. Brandon Cooper leads the Sonic Brigade to the green, and we're underway here tonight at Iowa.
Cooper's had some amazing qualifying runs here as of recent. He's never been able to really translate that over to the race, but I'm looking forward to seeing if he can keep that momentum.
Alan Dobbs will cycle into second. Third place will be Noah Jackson. Fourth place under contest, couple of Chevrolets there. You've got the Busch #1 Chevrolet of Christopher Tate making his first start on the season. To his outside, Tom Bourne, who comes in this race fourth in the playoff standings. Two drivers coming into tonight are locked into the next round of the playoffs. That would be Alan Dobbs, who won last week in the first playoff race at Chicagoland, and second in points, Noah Jackson. Opportunity here tonight for Trey Whitehead, Tom Bourne to maybe come away with a good enough run that they could find themselves locked in, especially would be a nice security blanket with Bristol, the elimination race looming on the horizon.
And we talked about it a little bit before we came on the broadcast, but there seems to be a couple differing strategies kind of revolving around gear. Some drivers are loving to leave it in fourth gear to kind of race around the track with that. Some are swapping the fourth to fifth gear. Some are leaving it in fifth. I mean, what's your preference?
Having never run this version of Iowa before, I don't know. Honestly, if it's me, I've never obviously run with the next gen car. I can only speak from experience of running with a 4-gear race car, and I can only speak from the X2003 side as well. I was one of those people that kept it in high gear. A lot of people liked doing the downshift from fourth to third. I was always one of those people that kept it in fourth gear. Now, one of the problems with that was, one, you normally didn't get quite as good a launch off the corner exit, and two, your car seemed to tighten up a little bit more earlier into the run than it did for other drivers. But I guess it's just kind of like a comfort level thing.
I'm going to note that at least when I was watching the top 5 here, it looks like everyone's running in fourth gear. Now, in practice, we saw a lot of guys after about 5, 6, 7 laps, they would start kind of pushing tight, cars would start hitting the fence. I've seen a little bit of that thus far, but I'm kind of curious as we go on if there's going to be more people who stick to that strategy, or if we're going to swap over to maybe riding around in fifth gear, save a little bit of tire.
I was watching in practice too, saw what you're alluding to, a lot of drivers really kind of pushing up off the corner and brushing the fence, more specifically off of 4 than they were off the exit of 2. And, I don't know if it's necessarily, as we see this brand new paved inside couple of grooves through the corner, if with that added grip, it's giving them a false sense of security that they can mash the throttle off the corner, and as soon as that right front hits the older pavement, it slides up. Or if maybe since there's more grip and they're carrying more speed into these corners, it's building up the tire heat in that right front a little bit quicker, causing that tightness, that tight sensation earlier on in the run than one might expect.
Yeah, these next gens kind of give you a coin flip of, man, this car is really snug into this corner, or it's really secure, and then, hey, finally get to the exit and the car decides to finally cash that check that he can't fulfill. There's a spinner in the back!
Trey Whitehead hangs on to it. We were just watching him in a good battle with Ryan Catalano. Car got loose down on the inside line. I'm not sure if those left sides got on the white line there and maybe hit the apron transition. He hangs on to it, no contact, as he was 90 degrees the wrong way on the apron there on the inside of 3 and 4. No caution comes out here, so kind of a double whammy if you're Trey Whitehead. Number one, your tires are all heated up now from that four-wheel slide, and secondly, a caution didn't come out to save you. This is a short track. I mean, if this continues to run green, there is a possibility he could find himself looking at the race leader, Tom Bourne, in the rearview mirror.
I mean, truthfully, that team, both the 23 and the 35, took a hit there. Christopher Tate may have misjudged the entry to turn 3 just a little bit. Gave the 35 a little bit of experience to Tokyo Drift, but unfortunately the 23 behind, he was reacting to that, lost the back of the car, got a little bit on the apron, and the rest was all she wrote.
And we talked about the fact that coming into tonight, an opportunity for Trey Whitehead to point his way, lock himself into the next round of the playoffs, with Bristol coming up here as the elimination race here for the round of 17. You take a look here at those point standings coming in. Tom Bourne 22 above the cut line. That cut line would be the 12th driver in standings, Patrick McQuaid. Ryan Catalano plus 14, plus 13 for Jeff Kleinsma. But man, there's a lot of movement that can take place around that cut line, specifically looking at Roberge and Ruse, they're plus 5. Hupka and McQuaid are 3 up on Faccianato. Cogswell's only 4 back. I mean, got all those drivers in the field here tonight, and a good number of those drivers are all running in the same vicinity.
And that's the kind of the hardest thing when you're in the points battle. You've got a cut line in mind, and you're looking around you. I mean, I swear it never fails that you're always racing the guys you're running against. And you know that you're faster than them, or you think that you're faster than them, and that's where you get into trouble of trying to force moves where it just don't need to happen.
Well, we were told that with our stages here tonight, Stage 1 completion of lap 55, Stage 2 completion of 110, that these drivers will not have to come to pit road for fuel until those stage yellows come out. So it's basically you got what you got here for 55 laps, and I certainly don't want to jinx anything either, but the last time we were here at Iowa was daytime conditions, and we saw the caution flag wave 13 times. Here tonight, with this newer version of Iowa and everything, do you think that that's made a difference into these drivers having just maybe a little bit more grip to be able to lean into here, and that's why we've been able to trend into a nice long green flag run right out of the gate?
Yeah, I'm willing to say that the track just seems a little snugger tonight, where it's a lot tighter going into the corners. The car feels a little bit more secure. And then also with the nighttime, I mean, nighttime is the right time, where there is so much grip at night, where you're not really dealing with the loose conditions that you are the daytime with the track temp. So it's giving these guys a little bit more of a kind of a boldness factor. It's a little bit what you said earlier, where I think drivers may be a little bit scared. Hey, we're thinking about that 13 cautions. They remember how it was earlier in the season. They're kind of taking those experiences from earlier, combining with this and saying, hey, this is different. I'd say maybe in stage 2 you'd see people getting a little bit more pushy about position.
Early on in the season, we were at Iowa, to your point. We were not even halfway through the year, so if you ended up having a bad run, that's okay. You had a lot more races to be able to get those points back. We're in the playoffs now. One wrong move, and you could find yourself on the outside looking in of the elimination spot there as far as the cut line is concerned, going into the last great Coliseum of Bristol. We were on board there with Ryan Catalano. He was looking ahead at Tate and Jackson's battle for third, but now he's going to have his hands full as here comes Alan Dobbs right behind him in the 35. Multi-time winner on the season, Mark Gonzalez, right behind him as well. And then behind them, you got Patrick McQuaid. What kind of pressure's got to be for McQuaid and any driver that comes into a playoff race sitting as the bubble driver? Because you're the benchmark. You're the one that everyone's looking at. Oh, McQuaid actually just got shouldered out of the way by, I believe that was the 25 of Rylan Faccianato. He saves it.
And this is what we were talking about with these guys running fourth gear. These tires push up in turn 4, and that's exactly where it ended up. His car was coming up the track. He just lost grip. Fortunately, McQuaid was there. This is the nightmare scenario where you call it for McQuaid, and you may be sitting there and you're thinking, well, why would it be a nightmare? I mean, it's lap 23 of a 215-lap race. Oh, my goodness. A 215-lap race. And he's got plenty of time to recover. Well, I mean, you got to think from his perspective where guys on the cut line, they kind of come in one of two modes. It's either, hey, no pressure, just deep breaths. We got here by our consistency. We're going to keep being consistent, and that's how we're going to get out of this. Or people who panic and say, hey, you know, we're on the cut line. We don't need to be here. We're better than this. We're going to push it a little bit harder. We're going to work a little bit harder to make this happen. I think McQuaid is one of those guys who I think he's going to push a little bit harder, and that may get him into some trouble here tonight.
Well, consider this as well. At the time that the contact was made, he was running in 8th position. Now, he's back in 14th. What's the difference in that? Stage points. He would be out of the opportunity of getting stage points here at the conclusion of stage number 1. And that's been a thing that we've seen him and a number of drivers really rely on in the regular season to be able to get themselves up into a points-paying playoff spot. Equally, I feel like, wanting to go back to the well again here, rely on those stage points to be able to, if you can't win your way into the next round, be able to comfortably point your way into the next round. He's not going to have that little bit of a safety net with those stage points at the conclusion of stage 1 unless he gets a lot of help here.
So here's where we get to that kind of fun period of time where you kind of scratch your head and you start thinking. Where, yeah, you were in 7th, you now are 14th, you've lost a bunch of time, currently making some good ground on Hubco, but I would start racking the brain here. Saying, hey, I mean, lap times have kind of fallen off around me. We are running 22.3s in qualifying. I could drop down, maybe get a new set of tires. I would lose a lap, but maybe I could race my way back onto the lead lap and then hopefully cycle out for the next run. Hope that your tires aren't too deep fried. This is the perfect opportunity where, hey, it looks like all is lost, but you can even reframe this into, hey, we're just going to run an alternate strategy now. Hey, we're going to take fuel on this and maybe just get a little fuel in the tank, only take right side tires on the stop. I don't know. Just try something.
The only question I would have is, would you lose only 1 lap? Or would you not lose 2, especially considering if you're in the back half of the field? If you're up at the front, maybe only lose 1 lap, but I feel like if you're back there in the second half of the field, towards the rear of the field, I mean, McQuaid's currently only running 6th from last. I'm not sure it's that too far back where you would end up losing not only 1 but 2 laps down there and maybe not have the guarantee of getting, if not 1, both of them back.
But that's the risk. And the reason I say it as an alternate strategy, because, I mean, again, you got to kind of look at it here, which is, if I'm running 7th on their strategy, can I beat them on their current strategy? Or, hey, is it worth it to try something different in the short term, knowing I'm going to have 2 stage cautions to bail me out of any potential bad decisions I may make? Where, hey, right now is the perfect time where if I want to try something, hey, this is the time to try something. Because you know you got a stage caution at 55, you know you got a stage caution at 110. Let's say you get a lap down. Hey, that's a perfect chance to bail you out. But I would almost look at the situation around me. Hey, everyone's running about 24 O's, 24 1s, 24 2s. Well, hey, our practice and qualifying, our quick times are 22 3s. That was on brand new fresh tires, so you're easily making over 2 seconds a lap on most of the field. Yeah, you may go a lap, maybe a lap and a half down, but I think you'd be able to claw it back in the 20, 30 laps that we have right now.
We're watching some battling here just inside the latter portion of the top 10. Ryan Catalano has been kind of fading back here. Rylan Faccianato got around him. Christian Roux starting to close up there. Catalano was up as high as 5th position and now is starting to drift back towards the 10th position here. Again, another driver that's trying to rely on some stage points to get him into the next round on points, coming into this race 5th in the overall standings, and has had a second half of the season resurgence, I guess you could say. Was not able to really find a whole lot of luck first half of the season, but all of a sudden was able to flip a switch, and he's been consistently inside of the not only top 10, top 5 every single week here, whether it be at a road course, a short track, or a super speedway. But this could be a case here of a driver using up their tires a little too early on in the run and paying for it on the back half.
And hey, this is as maybe as embarrassing as it may seem, this is the perfect time to make that mistake because again, you've got a stage caution coming. You know what you got the perfect blueprint of what not to do on your next run. So hey, just survive this run, get it to the finish, or get it to the end of the stage. Man, a guy who deserves an attaboy has to be Trey Whitehead. Man spun and ended up chasing back down the back of the field. He's currently battling for, it looks like P17, P16.
Yeah, 16th right now, and has 15th and 14th right in his sights.
You know how much that has to hurt being one of those guys back there. I mean, I know you've had it. I know I've had it plenty of times where you're running in the back of the pack, man. You're trying the best you can on what you got. You think you're saving tires. You think you got something better, and then the guy who wrecked from 4th or 5th comes powering on by you like it was nothing. It's like, man, didn't he just wreck his car?
Well, the one thing I'll say about Trey as well, not really surprised to be seeing him able to, as you said, be able to catch back up to the tail end of the field and continue to make forward progress. Early on in the season, remember a number of races where he didn't set down a qualifying lap. He started in the rear of the field and a number of weeks got the Hard Charger Award. So kind of going back to that here after having that early half spin, as now he'll work on Chris Roberge in the 9, Chris Hubka in the 5, trying to make his way around the both of them. Both these drivers just barely above the cut line, talking about Roberge and Hubka.
I mean, that kind of highlights the issue with this car, almost, where you got two guys side by side. The dirty air just upsets the front of the car so much where you're having trouble getting back down to that bottom of the track. Where, hey, if they stayed side by side for a long period of time, you're going to have to kind of force the issue where I'm looking towards the front of the field with Tom Bourne. Now it looks like he's being passed by Brandon Cooper. But, I mean, you got to look at that where passing here is so hard when you're in someone else's wake where, as the lead driver, you have so much power over the guy behind you.
Cooper had been steadily reeling Bourne in by about a few hundredths a second per lap, but been also noticing that Tom's been getting pretty loose there off of turn 2 and may have had one slip up too many. Cooper has closed up the gap and now looks to clear up off of 4. Can't do it. Tom able to get that power down, gets the run on the top side, will stay dead even down into 1.
And realistically, if you're in Tom Bourne's position, this is not where you want to be. Yes, you have the outside lane. You can kind of, go a little bit more, a little bit of contact, but you want that bottom line, especially on old tires, because that's the shortest way around the racetrack. That's how you run Iowa.
Tom Bourne in the playoffs got in through that 17th slot, the wild card slot, winning the All-Star race back at Charlotte. Brandon Cooper, a 3-time winner on the season. And look at that, Tom able to hold him off there on that outside line. Cooper has to tuck back in line and try and figure out another way around the 16.
I think he's just reloading for the next attempt where he realized that, hey, this is kind of a lost cause. Let me see if I can cool down my tires a little bit, see if I can figure out what he was doing to make me better. So I think this time he's looking more towards the high line, seeing the run that Tom got on that high side when he was stuck below. I think it really kind of forced his hand where he couldn't go up the track as much as he wanted. See, that's exactly it.
Completes the pass there. Great call by you there on trying to look for that high side. Exactly what Cooper did. And now he's going to go to the point. Cooper led the first couple of laps after starting on the pole. Tom Bourne was able to get by him, but Cooper reeled him back in. And now, coming to 10 laps to go here in the stage, could be some valuable stage points here for Brandon Cooper. Brandon came into this one currently 8th in the point standings, only 8 points to the good. So it'll be some added security for him between him and the cut line if he's able to net these 10 valuable stage points.
Again, you got to look at Tom Bourne's situation here. I mean, this is not a losing situation for him. Yeah, he's probably not going to win the stage out of this, but again, that is information you can use later. I didn't know that the high line was going to be so strong on old tires. I bet Brandon didn't know either of him trying to attack the bottom like he did earlier. That is just something that these drivers will put in their back pocket, and they'll kind of relay to the rest of their team of, hey, this is how I managed to pass Tom. I went onto the top line on old tires, and I was able to do a whole lot more. And Tom's going to say, well, man, I really don't want to be stuck at the bottom line later in the run.
Consider this for Tom as well. You know, not only do you have that information for later, but 9 points in the stage isn't going to be that bad either, especially considering he came into this race plus 22 above the cut line. One of the drivers that we talked about that could have himself locked into the next round of the playoffs with a good run here tonight. High-scoring stage points would be a step in the right direction in that regard. As up the track, they're going to brush the wall off of turn 4. I've been noticing a number of drivers do that here in the race. I saw a number of drivers do it in practice. It didn't really seem to affect them in terms of momentum, but what kind of damage can you sustain on the car that's going to affect you for the remainder of the race, or is it just what we call one of those harmless kisses?
Realistically, the more you have really two forms of damage here. Really, what I'm worried about is that right rear toe link, where if you get that bent, you're going to be in for a long night and at least a 7-minute repair, which is not going to come easily. And the bigger thing is, what I'm kind of trying to convey is, as a driver, it almost hurts more mentally hitting the fence than it does as, hey, you're just, racing in a battle and you touch the fence just slightly. Oh, I was battling a guy, that makes sense. But that's the kind of things where if you're running alone and you just keep tapping the wall, it throws you out of focus. You keep focusing on that one corner and, hey, the rest of the track suffers.
Well, there's a lot of hitting the fence going on back here. Just in the second half of the top 10. Pancake the wall did Christian Ruse. Rode the wall through 1 and 2 was Rylan Faccianato.
That's what I'm partially worried about is, again, you got to think long term, and this is what really kind of defines the playoff guys from the guys who are actually fighting for the championship, because you've got to take that minute of, hey, look, I've hit the wall 2 or 3 times in the past couple laps. I mean, I need to kind of take a step back. I need to maybe roll it down a little bit. So, hey, maybe I'm sacrificing time on my lap, but hey, I'm not hitting the wall and I can kind of get refocused back in my rhythm. What you don't want to do is you don't want to keep forcing the lap to happen, and hey, you're just going to keep hitting the wall harder and harder until eventually you end up to actually breaking something.
I got a question for you. What would you have said if I told you that after we saw that half spin through 3 and 4, coming around here with 2 laps to go in the stage, Trey Whitehead is in line to get stage points?
That's a guy who wants it. I mean, he touched the fence a little bit there, but that is a guy who wants it.
Right now
That's
in the
what
10th
I really
position,
mean.
that is crazy.
That's what I really mean between separating the guys who are playoff guys and who are actually championship contenders, where, look, some of these guys are in the playoffs because they are consistent throughout the season, but again, it really matters, at least in this playoff format system, about the guys who can perform when that light is shining the brightest. And realistically, hey, it is shining the brightest for Trey Whitehead, where he had every reason not to be back inside the top 10. And hey, look, man put his head down. He drove back up to 10th. Honestly, he could probably get 9th here if he'd have to send it here this last corner, but if he's getting a little bit more laps, he probably could have drove himself all the way back into the top 5.
We should see the caution here. How about Brandon Cooper? Only 1 stage victory during the regular season, but he'll pick up a stage win during the playoffs. Take stage number 1 here at Iowa. Bourne will net 2nd. Dobbs and Jackson, who are already locked into the next round, 3rd and 4th, with Mark Gonzalez 5th. Brock Whitehead, he also seemed to have a very good long-run car as he worked his way up to 6th. Catalano, Ruse, Faccianato, and Trey Whitehead going to be your top 10. So 8 of your top 10, all playoff contenders, getting some valuable stage points here to either extend a little bit of a gap between themselves and the cut line, or maybe in the case of a Ruse or a Faccianato, get themselves up above the cut line here according to live standings.
So this is a great time to kind of have that reset in your mind, which is, hey, for someone like Tom Bourne, well, congratulations, you finished P2 in the last segment. Realistically, you probably could have saved tires a little bit better. You got to figure out what the 54 is doing to be so strong, but hey, that is a great start. Now, if you go to someone like, let me just go through the field here. If you go to Patrick McQuaid, well, you just got the masterclass on what went wrong and what not to do. So, hey, now you got to kind of reset. You got to get your mind out of stage 1. You got to get your mind out of that. And, hey, we're going to focus. We're going to drive back into the top 10. We're going to get stage points here, and we're going to set up for the final stage and go win the race.
So everybody down pit road here, going to take on 4 fresh feel goods. Head out onto the racetrack here in preparation for stage 2, which will be at the conclusion of lap 110. Now, we mentioned about the fact that this season's 2025 playoffs for the Grind Cup Series is sponsored by Top It Off Hot Sauce. We see it prominently featured every week on the number 92 of Ryan Catalano, and we're going to, under this caution period, see if we can dial up the driver that's known in the racing Discord as the Sauce. Hey Ryan, it's Matt and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, I mean, great run here going on tonight. We've talked about your success in the regular season leading up to the playoffs. You're sitting 5th in points coming into tonight, 7th in this stage. Looking pretty good out there. Looking pretty racy in that Toyota Camry.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun out here. I mean, there's a lot of guys that chatter on the radio and everything. These cars are very, very tight. They're pushing. A lot of guys said we're getting meatballed just from blowing the right front tire. So keeping tires together here and maintaining those temps is going to be critical even with that shorter run. But yeah, that's been the biggest issue is just these cars are tight and they're blowing the right front off.
So I got to ask, what percentage was your right front at?
I was at 43% in the middle, so, but some guys
you
had
still have
0,
plenty of life.
10, 12. I'm like, oh, okay.
Nah, you could have went for another 40, man.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to share with them. I said, they're like, oh, you're letting off. I'm like, yes, I'm rolling. I'm not even on the gas in the corners because I want to
Wait,
stay
they're
in that
full
right
throttle?
front.
Well, we've got the 1 to green here, but we wanted to bring you up here because obviously pretty cool to see Top It Off Hot Sauce sponsoring the playoffs here for the 2025 season for the Grind Cup Series. We wanted to give you the opportunity here to be able to let the folks at home know just what Top It Off Hot Sauce is all about.
Yeah, but I did want to share too. I'm actually running a promo code now with the code is playoff25. Get 15% off your entire order. But yeah, we have homemade hot sauces and seasonings that I make fresh from my garden, and just a little side hustle if you want to call it. Have a lot of fun doing it. Like to share with people with like-minded racing guys, car guys, all that stuff. So it was a fitting spot. Yeah, as you say, I always have some unique paint job to go with different flavors of the hot sauce, so that's always fun too to design everything. But appreciate it, guys. We're gonna go green.
All right, wish you the best of luck here as Catalano gets ready to go back to work here. Green flag waves for stage number 2. Brandon Cooper gonna get us back underway here. Already single filed out through the top 4. 5th place side by side. That's where Tom Bourne and Brock Whitehead are gonna battle.
And Trey Whitehead, he got a little bit of help from the 92. Hit him right in the middle of 1 and 2, shot him up the track, lost 2 or 3 spots, and again, that's one of those, you got to take a deep breath, you got to shake it off, you got to just keep rolling because you don't want to focus on that.
Jonathan Cogswell with a good run off the exit of turn 2 to the inside of Brock Whitehead. Trey Whitehead with a move on Catalano. One car way up the track there in 3 and 4. Looked like that might have been the 15 of Jeffrey Kleinsma. We saw how the field got really spread out there on that long green flag run. I think these drivers are realizing it's probably going to happen again. Strike while the iron's hot, while you're close to everybody. Get those positions now.
And that's the thing where there's a couple different strategies here, but again, we're going to kind of get all the positions we can now. No mind about tire savings. We already figured out how to do that last run. And then there's the, hey, I just ran that last run and I didn't have that great of a time, so we're going to take it easy on the original front part of the session, and hopefully by the end of the stage, we're going to go a little faster.
By the way, it wasn't lost on me. I heard you laughing your head off there with Catalano being
You really
known as
should
the
warn me
sauce.
about these things.
It's there. You've been in the same team room with them. You know that's what his Discord name is. How does that take you by surprise?
I didn't know that was his team name.
Oh.
Realistically, he was
Well, now
surrounded
you know.
by like 15 Sonic cars, so I mean, it kind of was
true.
fitting.
I don't know what the story is behind the Sonic. I ended up seeing, I think it was a Trey Whitehead idea. I ended up seeing that he said we were going to bring the Sonic cars back, and it caused some kind of a ruckus in the Discord. I don't know what the backstory is, but all I know is the following week we saw Dobbs, Jackson, and both the Whiteheads out here with these Sonic machines.
And they're not exactly skating, but hey, take what you can get.
Yeah?
Now that Uncrustable's in that hot sauce, That's a unique taste. I think you'd like it.
That'd be a hard pass for me. I'm sorry.
What do you mean? It's like the Nutella Uncrustable.
Well, no,
Nonsense.
I'm not a jam jelly guy.
You're dead to me.
I'm sorry. What flavor Uncrustable do we have this week? I was trying to make it out there on the 19th. I think we had strawberry 2 weeks ago, raspberry last week.
I believe it's chocolate almond.
Oh.
I could be wrong. I just see a chocolate and a nut on the front, and I can't tell if that's an almond or that's an actual peanut. So, may need
All
to
right,
ask
if it's chocolate, I'm back on board.
We may need him to finish top 3 so we can actually ask him for this.
yeah. Random question before we talked about your great night. What's your sponsor?
If we have a time under caution, we'll just pull him and ask him.
Oh, there you go.
Not the strangest thing he's been asked.
So Trey Whitehead's been able to slot into the 9th position. Tom Bourne, who finished 2nd back in the first stage, currently right now in 8th spot. I was double checking to see about a couple of these drivers that we saw kind of go up and brush the outside wall. Tom was one of those drivers and may have spent a little time giving that right front fender a little TLC. He was on pit road for about a second longer than everybody else.
Yeah, we'll note on that restart, he has actually hit the wall hard enough to actually put some scrapes into the right front. So not exactly sure when he did it, but I know it was after that restart. That may be affecting the handling of his car just a little bit.
Riding on board here with Jonathan Cogswell as he looks at the inside of Noah Jackson. And it's so interesting to see the difference of what these drivers have to deal with. You see as they make their way there onto that freshly paved 1 and 2. And 3 and 4, it's so smooth. There's very little bumps, very little abrasiveness here to these race cars. But as soon as you come up off the corner and you're on the back straight, look at this. Look at how the camera just jumps as he hits those seams, hits those different areas of the racetrack where the patchwork's been taking place, trying to keep and hold this racetrack together.
Yeah, that's the thing where I know a lot of people were out on that new repave section for a little bit, but man, it is so much smoother down there. And I mean, realistically, you got to think about it. I mean, Iowa is a bottom feeder racetrack. I mean, you're going to want to hang around the bottom to run these cars, but I almost dare say that, hey, you're paving that upper middle section in some of these corners. I mean, it has opened it up where it makes more sense to kind of run the middle lane now, where I don't have to be on that bottom and I still get pretty good results.
Matt Medler in the 31 car made a unscheduled pit stop just prior to that stage caution waving at the conclusion of stage 1. He's currently being scored 4 laps down. He's the last car running on the racetrack right now, and Matt was one of the drivers that came into this race tonight below the 12th in the standings cut line. He was -7, so not a good start here to the night at Iowa for the driver of the 31. I mean, the last thing that you want to do is have to go into a track as unpredictable as Bristol in a must-win situation.
Yeah, and he was one of those guys that the tire went down on his right front, and he really had no choice to come in. It's not the best situation. Oh, actually, now that I'm looking back on it, it's not only that it went down, but he also missed pit road and ended up towing back to pit road.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, that hurts.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's pretty similar to the way it is in NR, right? It depends on where you are on the racetrack. It calculates the amount of time it would take under pacing for you to get back to your pit stall from that point.
Yes, so I think it took him probably about a minute or so to get from where he was on the front straightaway all the way to his pit stall, which, again, not a huge amount of time, considering, but again, it's time under green flag conditions that hurts. The only good news is the car laps down at the moment, so he's going to get those free passes.
He's got at least one guaranteed caution coming up here at the conclusion of lap 110. Second stage will come to a close. This is fun to watch back here. This battling from about 5th place on back. We talked with Ryan Catalano just moments ago. He's in the thick of it here with Jonathan Cogswell, Noah Jackson. There's Tom Bourne making a pass on him. Trey Whitehead trying to get to the left rear quarter panel as well.
And it wouldn't surprise me if some of these guys were saving tires here because, again, Tom Bourne's one of those guys that I'm scratching my head and wondering, hey, he did drop uncharacteristically. It almost makes me wonder if he started in 5th gear and stopped shifting down to 4th to save tire early on. And hey, now that he's kind of dicing through the field, it makes me wonder if he's going in 4th and he's finally taking advantage of those fresher tires.
On board with the 23 of Trey Whitehead. See a little bit of play in the wheel there as he enters into 3. Trying to make sure that the back end stays steady. It was interesting when we were talking before we came on the air here, though. You said that more so a lot of the drivers were going to be dealing with the car wanting to push up more, I think you called it snug, in the corner, rather than really dealing with a loose sensation here tonight.
Yep, it's a little bit snugger than a pug and a nug.
I know what a
You don't know
pug
what
is.
a
What's a
nug
nug?
No, Ugg, like the boot. Oh,
Oh,
my
and an Ugg.
goodness, Trey set it in there. He wanted past Noah.
And he's
Oh,
going
I don't
to...
think he's clear.
Not quite. Nope. Should be
That's
now.
one of those times where you're like, hey man, I'm a teammate. Can you let me in? And teammate says, nah. You gotta go work for it.
Work for it. Earn it.
I mean, it's the thing of, it's so hard to pass here. And you gotta look behind you. You got Cogswell, and you got everyone else. Even though you're locked in, you just don't want to give up that position. You want to be in that position where, hey look, I don't want to give up track.
Oh, close there off of 4 as Trey Whitehead got to the left rear quarter panel of Tom Bourne. This is the battle for 4th position right now. And they could see the race leaders also. I mean, we ended up seeing where Tom Bourne and Brandon Cooper kind of put a clinic on the rest of the field. It was a long ways back to Dobbs, who was then in the 3rd position, but you could throw a blanket over the top 5, maybe even the top 8 as you see Jackson, Cogswell, and Catalano start closing in. To your point, you mentioned about making those mistakes back in the 1st stage while also kind of going to school back in the 1st stage. Is this the byproduct now of a number of drivers realizing, hey, probably better off saving the tires for the long run, then we can reel in those drivers that have used the tires in the early going, and now we're seeing the rubber band kind of wind back up.
Like I told you, I've learned more from being in the back of the field racing through it than in the front of the field leading laps. That's a very good situation for Trey to be in, where he's got both of the experiences. He's got the experience of being up front, got the experience of racing through the field. I would just put any driver in front of him on notice where, hey, look, he's been knocked around a good bit tonight. I would not be surprised if, hey, if you'd give him a reason, he's going to knock you off the track and pass you.
Mark Gonzalez right now is the only driver inside of the top 5 that is not a playoff contender. Was a multi-time winner in the regular season, but didn't have enough starts to meet the requirements to be eligible for the playoffs. Doesn't mean he's not going to be any less motivated here tonight to try and pick up a checkered flag. Really good at the short tracks. Remember him having some really strong runs back at Dover, as well as at Richmond, as he's trying to reel in the top 2. And Trey Whitehead, Tom Bourne, they're back at it again here for 4th place.
I'm looking at it, and I want to believe that Whitehead is sitting on fresher tires, but I'm not so certain.
Well, you talk about the advantage that Trey might have here now being up inside of the top 5. It's what he was able to learn on what he could do on the long run, having to work his way back up first to the tail end of the field and then cut his way through to be able to net himself a point at the end of the 1st stage. Now kind of being able to apply all of that knowledge here as he races with these drivers just up here inside of the podium.
I'm sorry, I'm just a little bit distracted by I'm watching the 54's line, and it's almost a blend of what Dobbs and Mark Gonzalez behind are doing, where he's kind of trying to take advantage of taking the higher entry and kind of getting the best of both worlds, where he's not gaining a huge amount on entry, but he's not losing anything on exit.
Well, we saw him jump to the outside of Tom Bourne near the end of stage 1. So maybe trying to find something up in that groove again here. Has a big run there, a big send by Trey Whitehead. Loses the nose a little bit, and that allows Mark Gonzalez to try crossing him over. That battle for third place will continue through 3 and 4.
Yeah, that was an interesting send. About lost the car twice, but he managed to keep it under him.
Remember, Trey Whitehead tonight could lock himself into the next round with a solid run. He was 40 points to the good above the cut line coming into this evening. Right now, solidly in the third position as he gets that spot away from Mark Gonzalez. Alan Dobbs continues to lead. One last week at Chicagoland, so he's already locked into the next round, but looking for a 9th trip to victory lane. 7 wins in the regular season, looking for back-to-back wins to kick off the playoffs, but Brandon Cooper right behind him, who netted those valuable 10 points back in the first stage, wants to sweep the stages here tonight, as we are now at 25 laps remaining here. Actually, correction, 15 laps remaining in this second stage.
I think Cooper's going to try and figure out if that high line's going to work twice. He used it once to pass Tom. I wouldn't be surprised to see him try it one more time, but since Trey's kind of getting up on his bumper now, that may kind of change the strategy where that urgency kind of creeps up, where it's like, hey, I was planning to make this move last a little bit longer, save maybe a few more laps of tire, but realistically, Trey is on my bumper and he is getting ready to pass me, so I need to kind of get a move on.
Well, something I've been noticing here, yeah, Cooper's definitely been trying to get that outside line going, and Dobbs has noticed that. He's moved his line up there as well. Whitehead has consistently been able to wrap the bottom, so if they go up there running that outside line, they open up that lane for him, he's going to be more than willing to take it.
I mean, we saw it earlier this season where, I mean, teammates had a disagreement upon space and they had a little bit of context. You got to think, you've got 3 team cars running here. All but one of them, or sorry, all but 2 of them are locked into next round. I mean, you got to kind of keep that in mind where, hey, am I really going to lose anything by letting him pass? Or on the flip side, I mean, hey, can I scare him into letting me keep this position? Because, I mean, realistically, I got nothing to lose here.
Looks like for the moment, they're going to settle out here. Maybe allow those tires the opportunity to cool, to be able to generate a run on each other. As we look back towards the tail end of the top 10, at some playoff drivers looking to get those valuable stage points. Jonathan Cogswell trying to hold off Brock Whitehead in the 71, and Chris Roberts is right now holding the final stage point in the 10th position. We didn't see him last week at Chicagoland. He's here tonight. Dalton McKenney, our winner from the regular season finale at Daytona, but because he didn't make the start last week, Dalton comes into this race 31 points back. Now, he's not necessarily in must-win territory right now, but depending on his situation tonight, where he ends up finishing this race from Iowa, could determine whether or not he'd be in a must-win situation going into Bristol next week.
I think Trey is trying to let Brandon Cooper know that he is passing him one way or another. Just his cooperation is optional in the matter. As they've touched about twice now. And it's one of those, hey, he's going to complete this pass, just kind of how easy this is going to be depends upon even a team car.
Pass was indeed completed. Cooper tries the crossover, can't get the power down off of 2 as Whitehead brushes the wall on corner exit. Whitehead now moves into second place, and he's going to have about 8 laps to work with to see if he can get by Alan Dobbs to be able to pick up this stage victory, which I think, if he's able to get it, that will all but secure him a spot into the next round of the playoffs.
It should, with him being so close. I mean, he got stage points from the basically last stage. Even though it was 1, it was still just enough. Plus stage points here, and he's on track for a really good finish tonight if he keeps it up.
I mean, just looking at it here, Noah Jackson is locked into the next round, and Trey was only, I think, 3 points behind him. So, yeah, easily, even if he ends up finishing,
Oh.
whoa, way up the racetrack into those marbles. Goes the 23, and when you get up there, the car is not going to want to turn as it's gathering up all of that used rubber.
Truthfully, I think he missed his turn-in point. He wasn't exactly sure where it was. He was trying to get a bigger run on Dobbs by running a little bit higher, running a little bit longer, and unfortunately just misjudged it. Not going to hurt him in the long run, especially with stage being so close, but just, again, it's one of those, you were trying too hard to get a position that most likely just did not matter.
So it drops from second back to third. That gives Dobbs some breathing space now, about 4 or 5 car lengths back to Cooper. Then another 5 back to Trey Whitehead. Mark Gonzalez and Tom Bourne right now, your top 5. Jonathan Cogswell has dropped out of the top 10. Dalton McKinney and Chris Roberge were able to get around him. He's fallen from 9th to 11th in the last 10 laps. So currently not in line for stage points. Good battle going on here between Rylan Faccianato and Peyton Holland. This is for 12th place, also outside of the top 10. So not eligible for stage points, but hey, every position maybe could matter here in terms of where you're going to restart for the third and final stage. Patrick McQuaid right there behind them as well in that 77. We really haven't seen him be able to make much of a recovery after he had that contact with the 25 of Rylan Faccianato back in the first stage. Currently the 77 running in P14.
Currently 2 guys who really should be concerned. I'd really say the peak on that list has to be Dalton McKinney. I mean, again, you're looking from the outside in, but you're looking pretty much a horrific deficit from the outside in, where that's 30 points to begin off the race. Or sorry, 31 points from the outside of race starting to come in. You didn't get stage points at stage 1, if I remember, and realistically you're on par to get stage points in stage 2, but right now it's going to be 1 point. I mean, that is someone who you really need to be taking huge swings at the fences and just kind of hoping, because right now being consistent, oh, Peyton Holland in the fence. But just being consistent isn't going to get back 30 points.
Alan Dobbs crosses the line. He'll pick up another stage victory. He's already locked into the next round, so just pads the statistics in a way here with this stage 2 win this evening at Iowa. Cooper's going to cross in second, so that's 19 points right there on stages alone for the 54. And for a driver that came in only 8 points to the good above the cut line, that's going to be huge for him going into Bristol. Trey Whitehead's going to finish in third, so that should lock him into the next round on points. Mark Gonzalez, Tom Bourne going to complete the top 5 with Jackson, Catalano, Brock Whitehead, Chris Roberge, and Dalton McKinney going to be the top 10.
Whew. So now we reevaluate. Hey, you've finished stage 1. You know, how did your stage 1 go? I mean, if you're someone like Patrick McQuaid, I mean, your stage 1 didn't do too well. Your stage 2, not doing too hot either. This is the time where you really got to start looking inside, like, hey, what strategy are we going to change, or how are we going to run this differently, because what we're doing right now just kind of isn't working. I'd say, again, this is a perfect opportunity for McQuaid. If you want to try something different, try a different strategy. If you think it might work, hey, throw something at it, see if it sticks.
Matt Mettler's going to get one of his 4 laps back here by virtue of the lucky dog. You know, we obviously didn't get to see green flag pit stops here during these first 2 stages. They were able to make it the 55 laps in stage 1 and the 53 laps in stage 2. What exactly is the window we've got here now as we'll be getting ready for the restart somewhere around the vicinity of 100 laps to go? Like, just how far can they really go, and how wide a window is it of the window opening to make it the rest of the way, or being able to go the furthest you can before having to come to pit road for fuel?
Now that one I'm not quite sure on, and I think we're going to find it out at least this run, but what I also want you to kind of remember is kind of factor this out too, where yes, maybe I can go 80 to 90 laps on fuel. That's a hypothetical. Don't take me on that, but let's say I go 80 to 90 laps on fuel. Do I really want to go 90 laps on tires? I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm in a boat of, look, the tires are starting to cost me more time than I would save by running long. I'd rather just take the extra pit stop and take tires and continue going off of that, because yeah, we've seen the times of this race, the lap times have dropped off around 24, 25 seconds at the end of the run. When brand new tires, you can net about 22 flats if you really try. So there's going to be I think there's a lot of strategy play of who wants to try to make it on fuel or stretch fuel, and who wants to kind of focus on tires and just running hard.
I think probably maybe the median lap we would see for most drivers coming to pit road here, if indeed we have a round of green flag pit stops, probably 165. I would say maybe take the 100 lap, split it right in half, come down pit road 50 laps into the run.
I think thing you got to remember is also play to your own strengths and play to your own weaknesses, where it's like, look, I know I'm not great about saving tires. So realistically, I don't need to do a strategy bet forces me to save tires. I need to go on a strategy bet kind of, hey, look, I'm good at hop lapping. I'm good at kind of doing consistent fast laps when I got grip. So I would focus more on that. I wouldn't focus on, hey, I'm going to stretch my fuel to X and X. I'd rather just schedule an extra pit stop so I can race how I want to race.
So far tonight, only 2 cautions. They've been for the stage caution conclusion. It's nighttime racing at a short track. We're now into the 3rd stage. We'll see just how much more aggressive these drivers are going to be here on this upcoming restart. As Alan Dobbs and Trey Whitehead will be the front row, with Brandon Cooper, Mark Gonzalez, Tom Bourne, and Noah Jackson the first 3 rows. Green flag back in the air here in the red line 200. Great launch for Alan Dobbs. Cooper's going to get clear for second. Look at Gonzalez, high, wide, and handsome. Swings around the outside, 3 wide for third.
Oh, Whitehead got a little bit of Gonzalez, but they all managed to keep it straight.
Big drive in there from Tom Bourne. Almost was to the back bumper of Brandon Cooper. Had to check up through the center. Gonzalez will now use that to his advantage. Look at him send it in there up into the dark gray as he'll get to the outside of Brandon Cooper. Tom Bourne with the slide job. Past them both. Moves to second.
So I'm oh, wow!
Big save by Tom Bourne.
Oh my goodness. Well, I was about to say, I don't think he was saving tires, but you're definitely not saving tires now. I'd say Tom's probably one of those guys going on an alternate strategy, a little bit of contact with Trey Whitehead, spinner behind, 92.
That's going to be Ryan Catalano. Christopher Tate was in it as well. Also the 25 of Rylan Faccianato has spun around on the back straightaway. First caution for cause here tonight, and you kind of got the sense with what we were seeing there, it was just going to be a matter of time.
So this definitely bails out Tom Bourne a little bit, because you got to think, hey, this gives you a chance to cool your tires down, or if you think that you may have damage, or you think that you may have burnt up your tires a little bit, you can give your pit, change them out. You're going to be sacrificing a set, but hey, 50-50. Kind of looking back at that wreck, it's almost a kind of a chain reaction where what happened in front of the wall kicked off, and I think Ryan may have just kind of lost what space he was on the track, turned down in front of Tate, and Tate kind of just got driven over by Caldwell and McQuaid, and man, McQuaid really put himself in an even worse situation there with hitting that car.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think that 92 of Catalano was looking at the contact up ahead of him between Bourne and Whitehead and was thinking, I got to duck down beneath these guys, not realizing that the one of Tate was to his inside. They made contact, but not really anybody else involved. Pretty minor contact for what we had here. We'll take a look as well at what happened to the 25 of Rylan Faccianato, who I think, yeah, he pulls low to avoid Jeffrey Kleinsma, who is trying to slow up for Tate. And the car just kind of comes out from underneath him there as he pulls the wheel to the left. Goes for a slide, no contact with anything else, continues on.
I'm going to highlight at least this, where McQuaid put himself in a really bad situation here. So the main thing is, hey, obviously the majority of the mindset is don't slow down until the caution flag comes out. But the main thing is you can usually see what's going on in front of you, and you can make that judgment call if you want to jump off the gas or not. McQuaid didn't jump out of the gas until he was reading bush light on the side of the Tate's car. So man was going about 125, 130, and slammed straight into him. I mean, I'm willing to bet, has engine damage out of that. The whole front end's destroyed. It's one of those, your bad night has just been made instantly worse. That's the kind of hole that you can dig yourself into when you get a little bit desperate, you get a little bit panicked.
And we mentioned about the fact coming into tonight, Patrick McQuaid was on the cut line, 12th in the standings. Coming into this evening's race, we know that Rylan Faccianato got some stage points. I believe it was at the conclusion of stage 1. So I would say right now, live points would have the 25 in and the 77 on the outside of the cut line. So tough break there from McQuaid with that damage there on the right front. Going to have to deal with that for the remainder of this race. They did spend time on pit road trying to repair as best they could. Same for the one of Christopher Tate. Looks like maybe a little bit of an extended stay as well for the 92 of Ryan Catalano and the 14 of Christian Ruse. But everybody going to be able to continue. This caution is going to put Matt Mettler now 2 laps down. He gets the lucky dog once again, so his chances of getting back in the lead lap looking better and better with each caution that waves. All 19 cars still running, 18 of them on the lead lap. We're getting ready to go back green, and just double checking. Yes, the 16 of Tom Bourne did come down pit road to take on a new set of tires. I was going to say, I was going to be very curious of just exactly what he was going to feel going into turn 1 if he still had those tires on his race car here.
I don't blame him for burning a set where, I mean, hey, at least it kind of gets you that reset of, hey, well, at least I know what not to do, and at least I know I can drive through the field like I did last time, and, you know, hopefully don't spin out the car.
There were about 3-4 green flag laps run right there. Are fresh tires going to make any difference for those drivers that pit and took on a set?
I think they will. What I'm more concerned about for the guys who stay out is heat cycling the tires where, hey, we're going under race temps, and then they'd cool down when we're under pace, and then you heat cycle them back up. I don't think it's going to affect these guys that much because, again, we didn't run that many green flag laps beforehand, but it's just something to keep in the back of your mind as we continue going forward.
Looks like they'll get themselves single-filed out for the most part here. Battle's going to be back in the latter portion of the top 10. This is 9th place under contest. Jonathan Cogswell under fire from Peyton Holland. Slams the door on the 19, now crosses to the inside of Brock Whitehead in the 71. That's Trey Whitehead and Dalton McKinney up ahead of them. They're in a battle for 5th.
Man, I mean, Dalton must have heard us that last little bit because he finally picked it up. And that's the thing, Dalton needs to show out here. I mean, he is in a huge hole. Where this is a guy that we normally say for all the playoff contenders, you know, hey, don't take any huge risks, don't do anything that you would normally do. Dalton McKinney's one of those guys that, hey, you need to throw all that out, and you need to just go for it. You need to try and go get a win, and you need to try and see if you can just get as many points as possible because you're probably not going to be above that cut line going into Bristol.
Oh, Brock Whitehead hard into the wall!
Oh, Hubka's in it.
So too is Peyton Holland. And I believe I saw the 92 of Ryan Catalano collected up as well. Big overcorrect by Brock Whitehead. He went straight head on into that outside wall off the exit of turn 2. Caution's going to wave for the 4th time here tonight. And this one may be one of the biggest wrecks we've had so far tonight. Some of the hardest hits, certainly.
That 27's not making very many friends tonight.
Here's a look at it. Jonathan Cogswell up the track into the left rear of Brock Whitehead, and as soon as Brock felt the car coming around, you saw him turn back to the right, and it just snapped.
Worth noting that he did apologize, and Brock said it wasn't his fault. I appreciate his point of view. I'm in the boat. I don't agree. It's lap 220 or 127 of 215. One of those, hey, there's a time for cooler heads, and this is timer, definitely lifting would not have hurt you.
Saw that big shot there for Hubka as he got into the spun out 71, and this is on board with Ryan Catalano, who along with Peyton Holland had absolutely nowhere to go as the 71 jumps back down into their path, clips the 92 in the right rear quarter panel, and Peyton Holland gets swept up in it as well. We could definitely get the feeling with how these restarts have been going here ever since we crossed the threshold into stage 3. These drivers are realizing that we're getting closer and closer to that checkered flag. We've kind of gone to school in the first 2 stages, accumulated all the information we can, and now it's go time.
Well, I was about to say, like, I was really hoping for a caution-free race. I thought we were having a great start to that. I'm glad I didn't say
that
it,
way.
I'd be stoned.
Well, it is only our second caution for cause here tonight. We ran the first 2 stages completely green. And while we were watching that battling back there from 5th position on back, Mark Gonzalez was able to jump to the inside of Alan Dobbs, take the race lead, and these two were nose to tail at the time that caution came out. We're going to continue to battle for that top spot, but the timing of the yellow in the frozen field has that number 8 Budweiser Chevrolet as the one that will be leading us back to green. Dobbs in second with Cooper, Jackson, and Trey Whitehead the top 5. As mentioned, Mark Gonzalez, he's trying to play playoff spoiler here tonight. Non-playoff driver, but a multi-time winner in the regular season and trying to find his way to victory lane here during the postseason. Deny an automatic lock for a playoff driver to get into the next round of the playoffs here tonight.
Man, I'm so happy to see Matt Medler. I mean, he is staying in it. He's doing exactly what he needs to do, which is, hey, this hasn't been a glorious night by any means. He's been kind of off the pace all night. He's kind of, I could tell he's getting a bit faster, but he may still not understand the track fully, but I mean, he has done exactly what he needs to. Again, 4 laps down. He's now 1 lap down, and 1 more good caution. Kept the nose clean out of it. I think he'd be on for a good night if it turns into a battle of attrition.
I'm trying to remember who it was, and if I'm saying the wrong person, please forgive me, but it was a couple of races ago, and I believe that it was Chris Roberge. Was 8 laps down at one point. Got enough cautions to be able to get back in the lead lap and finished out the night inside of the top 10. So if you stay in it, you got a chance. And for Matt Metler, with the aid of 1 more yellow, he can start making forward progress up the running order. His green flag back in the air here. Great launch for Mark Gonzalez. We'll have him stacked up behind there with Cooper battling Alan Dobbs side by side, and then more Sonic cars behind them with Noah Jackson and Trey Whitehead.
Oh, looks like a little bit of contact in the back of the pack. 25 and 92 got knocked up the hill. Almost made a little traffic jam back there now.
These are stock cars, not muscle cars, but we've been seeing them willing to muscle each other out of the way here tonight.
Yes, the Toyota Camry, my favorite muscle car.
Cruz mentioned that he spent a little extra time on pit road getting some damage repaired. That might be why right there, as we see him pancake the wall off of turn 4. And a good battle with Trey Whitehead. Christopher Tate, who for most of this race has been running outside of the top 10. At one point he was running back around 16th, 17th position. Now he's making his presence felt up here inside of the top 10. Just swung around Ruse to move up to P6. I believe that's the highest he's run so far this evening.
Look who's in P4. Man came back.
Yes, he did.
Man came back with new tires. He's angry.
Oh, we got a slider back up there on the exit of turn 2. I believe that's Catalano. Caution is out.
Man, if we're also going on guys not having a very good night.
Yeah.
That is,
Do we chalk
that's
that
the
up to
third
the
one.
commentator curse since we talked with him or something? I don't know. He had a great stage 1, then we talked with him, and it's all falling apart.
You know what it's time for? It's time for
Reverse.
Matt Metler to get back on the lead lap.
Oh, there you go.
He's ready to fight.
Here's a look at what happened here with Catalano. Ooh, looks like maybe Kleinsma comes down on his right front. And then he's almost 3 wide there, too. He had another driver to his left rear quarter panel, so kind of squeezed there. In the center of 1 and 2 was Dalton McKenney, who was to his inside.
I understand Catalano going down and going for that gap. But, I mean, that was... You're taking life into your own hands, especially with how tires have been tonight and how that bottom line's been tonight, of how these cars want to push up the track. It was a 50-50 risk, and unfortunately he lost the 50-50.
Maybe a little bit of gap whack came into play there as well. He doesn't go up and hit the outside wall, parks it up there just before making contact with the safer barrier, so goes for a slide. Question is, how many sets of tires has he used up at this point with how much slipping and sliding has been going on?
Remember, we got six sets this race.
Some varying strategies here. Number of drivers coming down pit road. Looks like we got 5 drivers that elected to stay out, including Tom Bourne, Christopher Tate, Christian Roos, Dalton McKenney, and Rylan Faccianato. Bourne has 16 laps on his tires. Not all green flag. There have been some pacing laps, obviously, as well. Looks like Christian Roos has 22 laps on his tires, and then Tate, McKenney, and Faccianato, 8 laps, make it now 9 laps on their Goodyears.
I'm in the boat of, I don't think I would have taken tires that early because I just don't think that we've gotten that many green flag laps. Realistically, Tom Bourne is someone who had his hand forced where he was not going to come in just because, again, he burned that set of tires after the fact. But I still think that those tires would have had about 90-ish% life left in them, and they can still go for a good bit. If anything, I may have came down if I was Tom and just topped off just to have more fuel in the car, but it's a strategy.
Well, interesting you say that, because not only did we have strategy of drivers staying out, we had varying strategies on pit road, and 2 drivers that came down just topped off the fuel tank were Chris Roberge and Jonathan Cogswell. Alan Dobbs took on only 2 tires, while everybody else went with a 4-tire stop.
I think 2 tires would work right now, especially because we just have not ran the amount of laps where it would be just such an imbalance where it's going to wreck the car. I think I kind of like that strategy.
Well, you already documented it. Matt Mettler's back on the lead lap, so all 18 drivers running will be on the same lap as leader Tom Bourne for this upcoming restart. Chevrolet bow ties have the first 2 rows with Bourne, Tate, Roos, and McKenney. Ryan Faccianato will make it an all Chevrolet top 5. Highest Toyota will be Alan Dobbs in 6th, followed by Rylan, make that Mark Gonzalez, Chris Roberge, Jonathan Cogswell's the highest Ford in 9th. Noah Jackson going to complete the top 10. Coming around here for another restart here tonight in the Red Line 200 at Iowa. Bourne with a decent launch, but Tate kind of almost right there with him. Going to drive it deep here on the outside of 1 and 2. It's going to get to the right rear quarter panel down the back straightaway.
And if I was Tom, my biggest concern wouldn't be Tate on the outside. It would be those guys on brand new tires trying to figure out how much they're pushing the issue or how fast they are and versus me.
There are
That's
8
what
laps.
I'd be curious.
There's 8 laps difference right now in tires between the 1 and the 16.
The only good news is, or at least temporarily, was that Dobbs is being held up by the 25 of Rylan. But once he gets clean air, I think Dobbs may drive away just off of fresh tires.
He's got to deal with the 25 of Faccianato, then the 46 of Dalton McKenney. Ooh, Mark Gonzalez and Noah Jackson both pounding the wall there off of turn 2. As Dobbs crosses the inside of the 46, trying to cut his way up through traffic here. Sends it into turn 1. Looks like he'll clear McKenney off the exit of the corner. Now he'll look to make his way up into the top 3. Something I just noticed there with the race leader Chris Tate as he made his way down the back straightaway, almost kind of IndyCarring it there. He pulled way down towards the inside of the back straightaway, not allowing any draft to the 16 of Tom Bourne.
And realistically, I think that's a very smart move because how more aero dependent these cars are. I mean, you want draft on the straightaways. You want that ability to kind of suction up to another car. It's the corners where you really don't want to be in the draft. So, hey, taking away that draft on the front straightaway, that would buy you just a little bit of time. And in the corners, hey, put that car right in front of his so he loses that front end grip.
Alan Dobbs been able to find himself a little bit of space now before having to get up there and try and deal with the older tires of the 14 of Christian Ruse. Meanwhile, Noah Jackson having some difficulty back here. Just got around the outside of Rylan Facinato, as did Mark Gonzalez. Now trying to make his way around the 46 of Dalton McKenney. He keeps trying to get that run off of 2 to get to the right rear quarter panel down the straightaway. Just can't quite seem to be able to get the power down. Plus doesn't really have enough room to be able to do so as McKenney keeps closing the door.
That's really surprising because I thought those new tires would dice up the field a lot faster.
Yeah, so did I.
But that's what I was saying where, hey, I think we're still too early into this run to be taking tires. Maybe there just wasn't the amount of fall off that they expected. Don't blame them. I made the exact same mistake too, where I thought that, man, I just ran the life out of these tires and you pit and it's 92%. It's like, well, it sucks. I just wasted a set.
It's interesting, these cautions as well, because when we went back green, we were at 77 laps to go. We know they can make it 55 laps on a tank of fuel. We saw them do it back in stage 1 when we went green flag from pillar to post. I mean, if we're in the window from this point on, where we can go, 75 to 80 laps on a tank of fuel. As you said, though, it's the balance of the question, do I want to have those older tires late in the run? But if it's possible to be able to save tires for that long and be able to make it that far on fuel, also makes me wonder if some of those drivers that did come to pit road gave up the track position now, or of the thought process that just in case this thing goes green to the end, we've got the insurance in the tank to make sure that we're going to be able to get to the checkered flag. Some of these other guys up here, like the 16, 46, they may not be able to make it the rest of the way without having to come to pit road at least one more time.
I will admit the lap times that Christopher Tate is running have me slightly concerned with how much he's actually saving on his tires. I mean, he's running lap times that either match or exceed what Dobbs and what Jackson are running. And they're on much, much fresher tires. It kind of hits me as one of those, hey, you're not saving for what is eventually going to become the battle that you're in.
Dobbs has finally found his way to the inside of Christian Ruse, not able to complete the pass there for 3rd place. It's a good alternative strategy here for Ruse, who came into this one only 5 points to the good above the cut line. So far tonight has not been able to cash in on stage points. Currently inside of the top 5, looking to get a little bit of breathing space to the elimination cut line going into Bristol next week, and did a good job hanging on to the track position. Looks like he will lose the spot this time out of turn 4 to Dobbs, and he'll have Jackson and Gonzalez looking to get by him as well. But to your point, kind of interesting to see how these older tires are being able to put up a fight against the newer tires, specifically when the newer tires are taking the shorter way around the racetrack, trying to pass to the inside. That what we saw kind of almost more preferred line late in the run, that middle groove, being able to hold the other drivers off.
Yeah, it's one of those, I think he may be banking on caution, maybe banking on something else happening, or hey, having to run through the field, the 35 and the 20, that maybe that they're going to burn up their tires before they get to him and it's going to even out. I don't know.
Your contact right there, Brandon Cooper, a stage 1 winner. Going around the outside of the older tires of Dalton McKenney. Now trying to close up on Christian Ruse. Further up, Alan Dobbs continues his charge forward as he's reeling in the 16 of Tom Bourne. Now gets to his left rear quarter panel going into turn 1. 60 laps to go here in the Red Line 200, second playoff race of the 2025 season for the Grind Cup Series. Next week, it is the final race in the Dash for Cash, and it is the first elimination race of the season as we're at the world's last great Coliseum, the concrete half-mile Bristol Motor Speedway, next Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dobbs and Jackson, they're already locked in. Trey Whitehead, Tom Bourne, you can make a good case for them being locked in by the time we get to that racetrack next week, but there'll be a lot of drivers going into that race that are going to be sweating bullets on which side of the cut line they're going to be on and whether they can advance or preserve their positioning in the standings at a very unpredictable short track.
Realistically, if I was some of the guys in the field, I'd almost be looking to maybe hit either soon or close to, because you got to think, we were running about 55-ish laps to each stage caution. We could make that. You mentioned 60 laps to go, or around 60-ish laps to go. Realistically, I think I'd come in and just see if I could hopefully extend the life of those tires a little bit longer. When you see Christopher Tate come down, that may have been what he was doing, just trying to burn off every life that his tires had now. Then hey, when he finally got caught pit, and hopefully you'll cycle back around to being ahead of them.
So Tate makes his way down to his pit crew here for what should be his final pit stop of the night, barring any potential late race yellows. That turns the race lead over to the 35 of Alan Dobbs. And yet, just kind of looking here at fastest lap times, a lot of this was set in the early stages of this race, but in comparison to the lap times they're running now, there's about a second and a half per lap that you can gain on fresh tires here. So we'll see if Chris Tate can utilize this to his advantage, get some good out laps on these fresh tires, and maybe cycle to the front when all is said and done. Didn't get a chance to see him as he made his way onto the entrance of pit road, but in terms of like the 1 to 10 scale on difficulty, where would Iowa rank in terms of trying to get onto pit lane here?
I'd give it a solid 6, 7-ish. It's a track or it's a pit road that can catch you out if you're not prepared for it, or if you underestimate it, or even if you just kind of overshoot. Because it's so easy to overshoot the entry, and hey, you're kind of really ending up in the middle of the in the infielder, kind of in the middle of that little apron drag strip they have in the front of the track. So you gotta be careful.
Got some issues
Plus,
going on with one of our playoff drivers. Just noticed, looks like some connection issues for the 23 of Trey Whitehead. He's disappeared from our scoring and has been so for the last 2 laps.
And when it rains, it pours. I feel for him.
He ended up getting 1 stage point back at the conclusion of the first stage. He finished 3rd at the end of stage 2, so he was able to at least net some stage points there, which we projected would have him locked into the next round of the playoffs. That's not confirmed, but certainly would seem mathematically like he would be able to have accumulated enough points to be ahead of the cut line by a decent enough margin to advance into the second round of the postseason. But he's putting together a good run here tonight, having to kind of come back from a half spin back in stage 1, and right now scoring's got him 6 laps down in the 18th position. We'll keep you updated if he enters back into the server, but effectively he is out of the running for this win. And that's what you were talking about right there, as Mark Gonzalez was trying to come to pit road, overshot it, and has to use this drag strip down the front straightaway to make his way back around to pit road entry.
And he was smart. A lot of drivers would have just ended up going a little bit slower, going onto the front straightaway, but this is the perfect kind of runway for him where it's like, look, made a mistake, hey, at least we got a little bit of a straightaway where I can kind of shortcut the infield and hopefully recover. But that's only part of the challenge of pit road. The next challenge is actually on pit road, where they're using concrete pit stalls. And concrete pit stalls, I mean concrete in general, very slick. So when you're trying to hit the brake and stop in your box, hey, there's a good chance that you may end up sliding past your mark.
We've seen that happen numerous times this season, more so under yellow flag pit stops that lose you track position, but you do it under green flag pit stops, have to spend that extra time backing up to get into your stall, can cost you a lot of valuable time. Where in the world did Jeffrey Kleinsma come from? I know we've had a couple of drivers come to pit road, which has helped him advance some positioning here, but he's in P6 right now. This is a driver that looked like he was struggling in the early going, outside the top 10 most of the night, and now knocking on the door maybe for a possible top 5. Kleinsma coming into tonight's race in the 6th position in points, 13 points to the good. I mean, this could be another driver that we could talk about maybe being in the conversation with a decent performance in the stages next week at Bristol, locking himself into the next round.
McQuaid is sitting in the infield.
Gets it rolling.
Oh, he wrecked off a 4. Oh, man, that turns a bad night even worse.
See if we can take a look at what happened to him. Oh, yeah, he gets the inside wall there, that attenuator wall for pit road and everything.
We saw this a lot in practice, where a car would end up running from the bottom all the way up top, and then for some reason, right by that little restart box, there has to be a bump or something where it ends up hooking the car, and there's just no way to recover it at that point. You're kind of just, along for the ride, and unfortunately, it usually ends in the inside wall.
So Rylan Faccianato on pit road. Tom Bourne loses it there on pit road entry. Ryan Catalano coming down behind him here. A lot of drivers slipping and sliding as they try and get these cars woed down for that commitment line at the entry of pit lane.
And you gotta think, this is kind of one of those fallouts of, hey, we didn't have any green flag pit stops earlier, and this is our first real taste of it. We're gonna have some teething pains, especially if they didn't practice it. Well, really in practice, and even if they didn't practice it in practice, I mean, I think it's 173 laps. I mean, you're a little rusty on that.
Not only that, but you're coming down pit road with very worn tires. Even if you practiced it in the practice session, I mean, did you get an opportunity to do it on nearly 40-lap old tires? Probably not.
I'd say 40-lap old tires feel a little bit different than about 10-lap old tires.
Just a tad. Wait to see when Alan Dobbs, the race leader, elects to come to pit road here. He should be able to go at least another 15 laps based off of the 55 laps we know that they can run with what we saw back in stage 1. We're not sure exactly just how far drivers can actually go based on fuel, but it looks like maybe Dobbs might be pitting this time by.
Almost got taken out by Tate.
I was going to say, I'm not sure the 25 got the message he was pitting, because he was awfully close to his bumper there coming out of turn 4.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Noah Jackson coming down behind his teammate as well. Brandon Cooper will now inherit the race lead, but he's still got to make his way onto pit road. Looks like he may be coming down this time by. Looks like Kleinsma will stay out. Christian Ruse is slowing. He's coming into pit lane. So about, looks like 4 more drivers that we're waiting on here before this pit stop cycle will be complete. Everybody should be able to make it the rest of the way. And we saw one of the first drivers that made the jump onto pit road was the one of Christopher Tate. He has cycled up now to the 5th position, now make it 4th. He will definitely inherit the race lead when all is said and done. The question is going to be, how much of a gap is he going to have between himself and Alan Dobbs? And with the difference in tires, will it be enough of a gap for him to be able to hang on now south of 40 laps to go?
Yeah, that's... I don't have the answer to that one. But if caution comes out right now, man, there'd be a lot of people in trouble.
Oh, yeah. Right now, we've got all but 5 drivers 1 lap down. And maybe that's what Jeffrey Kleinsma's planning on here. That's why maybe he's running long, is that same thought process of, hey, maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe a yellow flag will come out and I'll have all these guys trapped a lap down, force them to have to take the wave around here, and net myself some good track position with a handful of laps left in this race.
If I was Christopher Tate, I'd stay out. I got enough fuel. And realistically, I'd trap half the field a lap down. Actually, really a majority of the field a lap down, where, hey, I make it a 5-person battle.
Right now, Jeffrey Kleinsma, Chris Roberge. No surprise to see Roberge playing an alternative strategy. He's done that all season long. Matt Metler, who was 4 laps down early on this race, right now in the 3rd position. Christopher Tate and Alan Dobbs right now the top 5. Peyton Holland, we're still waiting for him to come to pit road as well. He's in the 6th position. And Jonathan Cogswell came to pit road just a couple laps after Tate did. He's now cycled up into the 7th spot, but he's now under fire from Noah Jackson for that position.
And it's huge to see just the difference in lap times going around the track. I mean, look at Kleinsma that time, 24.7. Go a little bit further back, you get Roberge 24.4. Metler pulled a 25.0. Then you look finally back at Christopher Tate, who we know is on newer tires, pulled a 23.8. And then we get back to, let me just jump back to guys who I know are on new tires. Like Noah Jackson, 23 flat that last time. Dobbs did a 22.9 that last time. And they're losing a considerable amount of time.
Just saw Matt Metler missed the entrance to pit road, came to a stop there on the drag strip and called a tow to his pit box, so that's going to cost him some valuable time there. He was in the 4th position at the time. It just lost 3rd to the fresh tires of Alan Dobbs. It's a question of just how much longer are Kleinsma and Roberge going to run before they make the dive onto pit lane. You can see Kleinsma, he realizes he's got fresher tires barreling down on him, so he's running way up the racetrack there, giving plenty of space to McKinney and Gonzalez. The one problem with running way up there, you can visibly see it when we have these pan shots off the corner. There are a lot of marbles up there, so there's not a whole lot of grip on the tires to begin with, but then you're taking on all of those marbles on your tires as well. You've got to be having your hands full up in that upper groove.
And gotta think, I don't know that's the fastest line around the racetrack, but hey, I think it's one of the most stable lines around the racetrack.
Here is the battle, what might be for the race lead. Alan Dobbs has closed up on Christopher Tate. He's going to get to the outside of him here. This is right now for 3rd, but the other 2 drivers up ahead of them are still going to have to come to pit lane. Dobbs will now take what will be the race lead. Difference on the tires about 17 laps. And a long ways back to Noah Jackson, who right now is 2.7 seconds behind Dobbs. So Dobbs with some breathing space, back to the next driver that's on equal footing with him in terms of tires, and he has the insurance as well of knowing that the 2 drivers ahead of him, barring a yellow flag, they cannot make it the rest of the way on what they've got in the tank.
I'm just trying to run the numbers in my head, and something's not adding up, and I'm not sure what it is. I don't think Tate can make it. At least something tells me that Tate can't make it.
No, he can make it.
Huh.
He's run 30 laps, 25 to go, so that put him right on the 55 mark.
Okay, for some reason, my math was not mathing.
But he's going to be at the mercy of a number of drivers that are barreling down on him with 10 plus lap fresher tires. Got Noah Jackson there, Brandon Cooper, 92 of Ryan Catalano right behind them, but he's currently a lap down. We'll have to wait and see after the 15 and the 9 hit pit road, but right now, I believe that the 92, the 5 are a lap down. Patrick McQuaid, we saw that big hit to the inside wall. He's been on pit road for the last 15 laps getting damage repaired, and we do have a Trey Whitehead signing. He has been able to get back into the server, albeit 10 laps down, but in the span of the last couple of laps he has turned, he has been able to jump both Patrick McQuaid and Matt Mettler. So he's moved from 18th now to 16th. Every point matters, and obviously tough break for him here. Not going to be in the conversation for the race win, but a little extra track time here. More logging laps certainly can't hurt. We talk about Bristol next week. Definitely considered a rhythm racetrack, and I don't think I'd be remiss in saying that Iowa's in a sense kind of a rhythm racetrack. So, you know, just kind of getting the reps here, and maybe will help you with what you have to deal with next week at the high banks of Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, it's one of those, yes, Trey, it's unfortunate how his night turned up, and hey, it's been a pretty much get knocked down, it's an uphill battle. But I kind of view it like this, where, hey, look, you're stopping the bleeding, where it could go a lot worse tonight. You could have finished, you know, P18, P19. Hey, you're racing P16. Maybe if you get lucky, you'll be able to get P15 out of maybe a wreck or something if someone has an issue. It's just, I'd rather get some points than no points.
We had a close moment there with Chris Roberge and Alan Dobbs, as Roberge is now making his way on to pit road. I think there might have been a little contact between those two. I don't know if any damage was sustained on the right front of the 35, but he's now up to second and a little less than 5 seconds behind Jeffrey Kleinsma, who continues to run out here. So he's gone 62 laps here on this run in that Mountain Dew Kickstart Chevrolet Camaro. 18 laps shy of the finish. He'd have to go 80 laps if he were to go to the end. And you can see right there, he's got his hands full with this race car as he nearly lost it completely off of turn 2.
And I respect it where, I mean, look, he's trying everything he can. And just hoping that caution falls right, because that caution falls, I mean, hey, he's in a great situation. Everyone's probably going to follow him down the pit road. Just, again, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. And I think this is unfortunately turning into one of those, this time he's not going to win.
Well, here's the thing, though. I mentioned about the night he was having prior to the third stage. No stage points, was running outside of the top 10 pretty much the entirety of the night. If we look back at 10th position right now, which is Christian Ruse, he's 21 seconds behind the 15 with 16 laps to go. Let's theorize that maybe Kleinsma has been able to save enough fuel to get to the end. If he brings it home inside of the top 10, that's a net gain from where he would have finished if he had gone the conventional route of everybody else.
True that. I didn't think about it like that.
I mean, I'm looking at the lap times even right now. I mean, obviously Alan Dobbs on fresher tires is reeling him in, but in the span of 2 laps, it's taken him that long to cut the distance down by half. Well, that's going to help him there as Kleinsman's going to get the wall off of turn 4. Chris Roberge making his way by. Dobbs is starting to close in, but see if Kleinsma is going to be able to hang on here and make it the rest of the way. He's certainly not going to win this race, but maybe a top 5 or a top 10 could certainly help his situation going into next week. Again, was 13 points to the good above the cut line coming in. Well, that answers that question. He's on pit road. So I didn't know if maybe he could save enough to get to the end. Might have been hoping for a caution to save him and get him on the same sequence with everybody else, but now has to throw out the white flag of surrender, makes the dive onto pit lane here from the race lead, and that will now put Alan Dobbs back to P1. Cooper will move to 2nd, Jackson into 3rd. Christopher Tate will now be 4th, and Dalton McKenney currently has the final spot inside of the top 5. With Dobbs taking the race lead now, we can officially say 10 drivers on the lead lap The last of those being Rylan Faccianato, who's only about half a straightaway ahead of the 35 Toyota. Well, less than that.
The big thing I really want to stress is, when I'm looking at the lap times, realistically, Brandon Cooper is a lot faster than Alan Dobbs, but the problem is that Dobbs had such a good entry and exit on the pit road, and he took advantage of his new tires prior and afterwards, that he has built himself up enough of a gap where he doesn't have to be running hard every single lap. He just needs to keep up a good enough pace where Brandon Cooper can't claw back 2 seconds on him.
Looking
Really
from the
good
front
execution
of Brandon Cooper, and you can see there as Dobbs is closing up on the 25 of Faccianato. Does that help the 54 with the fact that the 35 is not going to be having clean air to the nose here, at least for these few couple of laps?
It's a blessing and a curse. It just depends on how long it takes him to get around the 25. Where, yes, it's going to kind of affect him in the turns a little bit because maybe he won't get his preferred lane, but it will help him on the straights because it does have a little bit of a toe where he can get a good run on the straightaways.
If Cooper can get up there, it'll be a question of who wants it more. Dobbs is already locked into the next round of the playoffs with his win last week at Chicagoland. Cooper's been able to net 19 stage points here this evening, including a stage win in stage 1. And right now would be in line for a solid podium finish that would put him in good stead going into that elimination race next week. Peyton Holland, though, putting the pressure on him there. Looking to see what the difference is in the tires between those two. Oh, wow, it's about 22 laps difference, fresher tires for Holland, so he'll make mincemeat out of the 54 here off of 4.
Realistically, this is the worst case scenario for the 54 right now because, hey, you're going to be stuck in the battle of a car that just does not even matter to you. And unfortunately, all that time where you could have been clawing back pretty much all that distance, Dobbs finally managed to get around the 25. So what you're basically doing in that car is you're screaming at that 19, well, hey, you held me up, go hold him up.
Yeah. 6 laps to go here tonight at Iowa. The red line 200. If you're Dobbs now, every time you're coming around out of turn 4, you want to look up, you want to see that white flag waving here because you don't want this race to potentially go into overtime because I guarantee you, if we got a caution at this point, we'd have probably everybody down pit road, and I bet there'd be a lot of drivers that would have seen what happened with those that stayed out, those that took on 2 tires back during that previous caution and would say, you know what, that looks like a good idea to gain some traction. We'd see a lot of right sides going on and then send them away.
Yeah, it's the thing where realistically, after all the laps that we've won, or all the laps that we've done, I would take 4. I'm usually one of those purveyors of, look, if I have a chance to take 2 tires, maybe get out earlier, I would. But I think we've ran too many laps in these set of tires, and realistically, taking 2 would just make it so undrivable going into the corners and almost for no gain.
Closing laps, got a battle going on here for the 6th position. Dalton McKenney, we talked about his situation coming into tonight. No points last week at Chicagoland. 31 points below the cut line, trying to get the best finish he can here tonight. Put himself in a somewhat favorable position going into Bristol next week as Mark Gonzalez gets loose in front of him, and he's going to go around. Is this going to bring out a yellow?
Caution!
And we did not get the white. We're going to overtime. That is the last thing that Alan Dobbs wanted to see right there. As a battle for 6th goes wrong for Gonzalez. He tried to gather it up down the back straightaway, but it finally snapped on him going into 3. And now, what do you do?
So let me ask, let's bring back the question of, do you want to go 2 or do you want to go 4? I'm in the boat of 4. I mean, realistically, I think I can do more at 4 tires where, hey, look, if I get lucky enough, I can kind of barge my way up there. But I could see the argument for 2 where if you think, or if you're a guy like Peyton Hollis, where, I mean, unfortunately, I don't think he managed to unlap himself before that caution came out, but if you're in that boat, I would have preferred to take advantage of my newer rights or my newer left side tires and just take rights and hopefully take advantage of all that.
We got some takers and some not.
The big question is, do these guys have tires left? The ones who are staying out, that's my big question. I don't know, but also if you're in a position like Dobbs, realistically, whatever you do, the field is going to do the opposite of. I mean, you come down for tires, everyone's staying out.
It's a good point. Tate, Bourne, Ruse, Cogswell, McKenny, all on pit road here. And now to your point, since everyone didn't come down pit road, more than likely you'd think a lot of these Chevrolet drivers, they're going to go maybe with the 4-tire strategy here to take advantage not only of these Toyotas up here that are going to be on older tires, but now you're going to have more maneuverability as well with having the fresher left sides too.
Ooh, man, I'm kind of looking at here.
So the question here is, as looking at it now, it looks like Tate, Bourne, McKenny went with 2 tires. Cogswell, Ruse, they went with 4. The big question now is with how they're stacked up here. You see the one's going to be second on the outside line. Is 2 laps enough time to be able to make the move around these guys? Because
I don't think we're getting only 1 green white check.
That's
we
a
got
fair
3
point.
Of these things. Like,
but I mean, I go back to Christian
would...
Ruse. He was on about 40-lap old tires. Some other drivers behind him with fresh tires, and he was able to hang on inside of the top 5 for about 10 laps after we went back green. Eventually, he started fading, but for the most part, he was able to hold his line up there in the middle to high groove, and the fresher tires had difficulty getting around him.
That's the only reason that I would say I'd rather have 2 than have none is because looking at how fast that 19 caught the 54 and how fast 19 caught the 35.
Yeah, true.
That screams to me I want something. If I had my choice, I'd rather have 4 because I'd be spending the entirety of the caution period trying to get him up to temp a little bit. But at least I know that I could put it anywhere I want to. I could probably put it on the high lane if I so do desire and just held it open. And I'd probably be able to make that corner a lot faster than the rest of these guys. Realistically, I think Tate is in a better situation than Tom is. Tate's got the outside he can kind of work on here, where he's got a little bit of room to go up and he can kind of manipulate that. But Tom, he's going to be stuck on the bottom, and where are the 2 cars in front of him going? They're going to the bottom. They're going to be trying to hold him off. So well, I mean, we're almost green, so it's going to be a...
Here's the thing. Dobbs is locked in the next round. Nothing to lose. Jackson's locked in the next round. Nothing to lose. Tate's not running for the playoffs. Nothing to lose. So, yeah, I'm with you. I don't think we're done with cautions here. Here we go. First overtime, green, white, checkered. Dobbs gets away.
Oh,
it's
no.
a wall of Sonic in front of Tate and Bourne and McKenny.
Getting reports that Dobbs may have jumped the restart.
Oh, we're going 4. We somehow made it work. We've taken the white. Oh, contact. Tate up the racetrack and into the wall. Dalton McKenny's going to slide into second. Can he get the 35? He'll cross to the inside. Here comes McKenny. Dalton McKenny is going to pick up the victory at Iowa.
What in the world?
Are you kidding me? Where did that run come from?
We said he needed to come out and he needed to make a swing. By God, he swung.
He swung and hit it out of the park. Late race dramatics to win the regular season finale to get into the playoffs, and now tonight, practically a must-win situation. McKenny does just that. He takes the red line 200. What a crazy final lap.
Oh my goodness. The big thing is, if we're just going to rewatch that whole restart.
Oh, we're going to.
Yeah, I'd say rewatching the whole restart. I mean, again, Dobbs Dobbs in the best case scenario possible. And it may not seem like it, but he had 2 teammates behind him, 2 teammates to run interference. And that's also what kind of kept some of those guys behind at bay. They were focusing on Tate, they were focusing on Bourne, but the guy who they weren't focusing on was Dalton McKinney. And McKinney had new tires too. Holy.
Celebration here on the front straightaway. Burning up that ear of corn. Let's go back and we're going to follow the 46 on this final run to the finish here. This green-white checkered. I mean, they were 4 wide at 2 different times here on these final 2 laps. And somehow we were able to keep it together.
And realistically, Dalton did exactly what he needed to do. He knew what was at risk here, which is getting to the next round. Do you want this championship or do you not? And he wanted it more. So, the man drove his behind off to try and get up there and put himself in a position where he could steal one of these.
This is coming around to the white, and I thought we weren't going to get here. Look at this 4 wide there with Cooper, Tate, Jackson, and Bourne, and then McKinney sticks his nose down there 4 wide. There's where Tate gets hip checked up into the wall. McKinney's going to get by Tom Bourne, and then it's just 1 car to beat in Alan Dobbs. And watch how these fresh tires allow him to rotate through the center, get the nose pointed as the door was opened, and off the corner, Dobbs tried to door bang him one final time, but the run off of the exit down the straightaway, the momentum went to the 46, and he was able to handily pick up this victory. But what a chaotic final 2 laps in which to do so. He started, or restarted, I should say, outside of row number 3. That was a lot of traffic, a lot of aggressive patience he had to have right there to be able to pull that off.
Imagine the sigh of relief that
gracious.
man is having right now, where
yeah,
you're looking forward to Bristol and saying, man, this whole next week, it's going to suck. I mean, I got to get ready to do Bristol. I got to figure out how I'm going to gang-ack all these points. No, just win this week. His next week, he's going to be the happiest man in Bristol.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Missed last week at Chicagoland, but makes up for it here tonight. 74 1,000s is what our scoring is saying there between himself and Dobbs. Tom Bourne going to bring it home in 3rd. That should lock him into the next round on points. Great run for Jonathan Cogswell late. I think he was one of the drivers that went with 4 on that final pit stop, as well as Christian Ruse. They're going to net top 5s here this evening. Noah Jackson was 6th. Even despite that contact, Christopher Tate's going to bring it home in 7th. Jeffrey Kleinsma in 8th. And Brandon Cooper will finish in 9th. Last car on the lead lap. Mark Gonzalez will finish the first car 1 lap down in 10th. Peyton Holland was 11th, Chris Roberge in 12th, Rylan Facinato 13th, Ryan Catalano 14th, Chris Hupka was in 15th, and the last car running was Trey Whitehead, 9 laps down in 16th. We'll have to see if the stage points he was able to get, if that was enough for him to lock into the next round going into Bristol next week or not. Drivers that did not reach the conclusion, Matt Mettler, Patrick McQuaid, and Brock Whitehead. But that's going to send us into our FRN post-race wind-down. And it's time to dial up the drivers after what went down here this evening in the Midwest at the Iowa Speedway. Let's see if we can get a hold of the driver that brought it home in the 3rd position here tonight. And that would be the driver, the number 16, Tom Bourne. Hey, Tom's guys up here in the FRN booth. Got a copy?
Yeah.
Wild finish here tonight. Short track racing we knew was going to get interesting with it being an overtime green-white checkered. I mean, we saw you guys 4 wide there coming to the white flag. In the conversation there, you came down pit road, you took on the right side tires. What little more needed to happen there to have this 16 parked in victory lane? Because there were a lot of moving parts and pieces there in those final 2 laps.
Probably the biggest thing was if Dalton didn't get under me going down into turn 1, I probably would have been able to clear the 20 and Tate, and I might have had a shot at Allen where he was kind of where Dalton was able to sit in that opportunity. But Overall, it was a good run overall. Good run all night. Had some ups and downs, but car was fast, and I couldn't be happier with that. Showing consistent speed at the right time, so that's all I really care about.
So I got to ask you, Tom. You had a chance to go back. Would you take 4?
No, no. I believe Cogswell and Dalton took 2, correct?
Cogswell took 4, Dalton took 2.
Okay. Car felt amazing on uh, car felt amazing on 2 tires for the short run. When I pit, my left sides were 92, 93. And from what I was hearing in the last round of pit stops, 2 tires was definitely feasible, especially for a short run. So we tried it. I was talking to Tate before as we were coming down pit road, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm taking 2." And I'm like, "All right, well, if you're gonna take 2, I'm gonna take 2. See what happens. I got nothing to lose here, so went for it."
So Matt was talking about the fact that when we end up having these scenarios with these late race yellows, especially when you're at a track that's as abrasive on the tires as Iowa is, you do the opposite of what the leader does. If Dobbs hits pit road, are we staying out or are we still coming down pit lane to put on at least the right sides?
I'm coming down pit lane. I felt like I was faster than Allen to an extent all night long. It's just when he got up front, I didn't have the track position to kind of get up there, and I was I was able to work my way back up until we had the stage caution and stuff like that. I think I would have been able to get him on a restart, but then again, Allen's a very, very good racer. He knows how to block runs and whatnot. I'm not taking any credit away from his racing ability and whatnot, but I think it definitely would have been able to. I would have had to hope other people stayed out and kind of boxed him in to really give me a shot at, a better shot at getting by him if that scenario played out.
Well, he came into tonight 22 points above the cut line, netted some good stage points this evening. You bring it home on the podium, so looking in good shape to, if not have yourself already locked in, pretty close to locked into the next round with Bristol looming on the horizon. Congratulations on the great performance here tonight. Wild finish, and you come out with a 3rd place run. Before we let you go, Tom, we're going to turn it over to you for some thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Yeah, just got to thank Reaper Apparel Company. They're on the car all the time, and their clothing brand is amazing. Ghost Energy, FRN, always on the car since day one. You guys for putting on a broadcast every week, whether it's Seth up here alone, whether Scott's pulling double duty, racing and broadcasting, whether Matt wants to show his face up here every once in a while. Hubka for putting on the league. I know we've had some ups and downs. It's been a long season, lost some people, but he's stuck by it, and hats off to him for that. And Christian Ruse for having me on the team. Shout out to Dalton for making the move where he needed to. I would have done the exact same thing, and I can't even be mad at him for it. Sydney, Melissa, Kira, everybody watching, just thank you all, and we'll get in victory lane at some point in the playoffs, and hopefully it's the last race of the season when I'm in the Final Four.
Well, a great run here tonight for Tom Bourne. Brings it home 3rd place this evening at Iowa. In good position going into Bristol next week as he looks to make his way into the next round of the postseason at the last great Coliseum. Congratulations on the great run here tonight, Tom, and best of luck next week.
Thanks, guys. Hopefully I'll be talking to you next week as well.
Let's see if we can now get a hold of the driver that brought it home 2nd place here tonight, Alan Dobbs. Alan, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Man, I'll tell you, the last thing a leader wants to see at a track like this, coming around with a chance of the white flag in the air, you look up at the flag stand, and it's the caution flag. Obviously, only a few drivers on the lead lap, but how much mental anguish was there in trying to figure out, do I come to pit road or do I stay out?
Yeah, all of it. I mean, if I would have came in, then people behind me would have stayed out. So I mean, you can't really win as the leader. Everybody else is. Most people's going to choose to do something different than you. So obviously, taking tires there was the right call for winning the race. But if I'd have taken them, I might have get wrecked. So whatever. I guess. Little suspicious looking back at the replay of the caution that came out, but yeah, it is what it is.
Well, let me ask simply. If you had a chance, go back under caution. What would you do? Would you stay out again and hope to defend a little bit differently this time, or would you drop down, take 2 or take 4?
I had already taken 2 tires 2 times in a row there, so I was a little sketched out about taking them for a third time. Honestly, I would probably do the same thing I did, except when I went into 3 and 4 the last time, I would have completely covered the bottom and made them roll the outside. That's about all I could have done differently, and it might not have been any different outcome, but it is what it is.
We've had a good momentum streak here, not only coming into the playoffs, but since the playoffs began. We talked to you in Victory Lane last week at Chicagoland. You bring it home second place here tonight. We got another short track coming up, another night race as well next week at Bristol. So obviously a solid first round for you here. You'd already locked yourself into the next round with your victory last week. So what's the goal here? Obviously here tonight we saw you in the hunt for the victory. Next week when we go to Bristol, is it just trying to get the reps here, trying to continue to pad up the statistics here this season, try and find victory lane again? Or are we kind of learning for some other tracks coming up? Because again, I know that obviously Iowa is very different from a Phoenix, but they're both kind of considered short tracks. We got Bristol coming up next week, and we've got Martinsville coming up later on. Is there anything that you can kind of do at some of these tracks to be able to take some mental notes for future races coming up here as we draw closer to the end of the season?
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure. I'm just trying to finish out this season without getting kicked, to be honest. Seems most people have an issue with me, so just try not to rub anybody the wrong way, trying to just back off my pace and not really give it full effort so that hopefully I don't get into any situations where the admins are mad at me. So just going to go out and try to run the best I can, the cleanest I can. I know I'm going to have good pace wherever we go. I'm not really concerned about base speed. It's more traffic and not getting put in a bad position.
Well, a great run for you here tonight. You almost were able to hold off those fresh tires to pick up your second win of the playoffs, but a second place run here tonight off the heels of locking yourself into the next round last week at Chicagoland. Wish you the best of luck next week at Bristol as you set your sights on the next round of the postseason. Alan, before we let you go, we have the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Just shout out to my beautiful wife, as always, all the guys at Whitehead Racing, you guys for the broadcast, everybody watching, all the guys for racing. It was actually a pretty clean race. I was surprised we finished early tonight. Good run, everybody.
Alan Dobbs brings it home second place this evening in the Red Line 200 at Iowa. And we'll look to see what he does next week at Bristol. This driver came in with a lot of pressure here tonight. He gets the victory. He's going to the next round of the postseason. Dalton down in victory lane. It's the guys here in the upper end booth. You got a copy.
Yeah, how we doing, fellas?
Man, I'll tell you what. I can't tell you how many broadcasts I have lobbied where we need to have a heart monitor gauge for drivers to be able to see just exactly what they're going through in certain situations. That final run there, that final overtime green-white checkered, you restart in the 6th position. You're in a 4-wide situation coming around to the white flag, and then you are able to find that path to the inside through 3 and 4, coming around to the checkers to be able to lock yourself in through a victory into the next round. You missed last week at Chicagoland, so how much pressure were you feeling coming into tonight, and how much did that play into the moves you made on that final green-white checkered?
Yeah, my only win this season was at Daytona, and I felt like anything can kind of happen there. I haven't really showed much speed. at any of these technical tracks. I'm not a huge fan of this car. So I was just showing up tonight having fun. I coach high school softball, and we had a practice that ran over a little longer than I would have liked last week. That's why I missed. I hated to miss, but that definitely comes first. But I was just coming here tonight trying to have a good time, try to put together a good run, just maybe open up an opportunity going into Bristol next week to sneak in there on points. And then when that caution comes out, it's anyone's ball game, and I just, I didn't have winning speed tonight. I realized that, but right place, right time, and was able to throw on a couple tires and made it stick through there. I knew if I got underneath them, they would really drive it in hard, and I could possibly get them to push through the center. And I just really slowed my pace down and wrapped the bottom. Was able to clear for second, and then once I saw just how much more speed I had than Dobbs with the fresh tires, I thought I could get underneath him, and yeah, it worked out. I definitely excited, but unexpected. I did not come in tonight looking for a win by any means.
What in the world was going through your head when you poked it 4 wide on the front straightaway on the white flag lap? Did you think you were even making that corner, or did you think that everyone was just going to get wiped out the moment we got there?
Yeah, I really didn't want to cause a wreck. That's why I slowed my corner down so much and really wrapped the bottom. I did not want to go in there and bulldoze through 3 other drivers racing for a top 5 there, especially in the playoffs. What happened was the 4 wide, I was behind them, but coming out of, I guess it'd be 2, they kind of looked like maybe touched the wall, got into each other, and really checked up. And I just had a split-second decision to go to the bottom to get underneath that, and my momentum was already taking me underneath the 16 as well. So I went ahead and went all the way to the bottom, and I'm glad I did. I don't always make that aggressive move, especially in this series where I don't feel like I have that kind of speed. But in that scenario, when I knew in the back of my head I needed the win, you got to take every run you can get with these cars. It's so hard to pass. So I'm glad I did it tonight.
Well, as Matt said, you're probably going to be the happiest man going into Bristol now, knowing that you're not going to have to deal with the ins and outs, the ups and downs of the last great Coliseum. You're locked into the next round of the playoffs. So what does this do now for the mentality going into that short track race next week?
Yeah, it definitely takes a little bit of pressure off. I ran pretty good at Bristol. Like when we went there earlier this year, I think I ran 4th or 5th. I know there was a lot of carnage there. I was able to just keep my nose clean and keep track position, and I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit like, or probably a lot of bit like that again next week. So yeah, it's definitely nice going to a track like that, just to be locked in and moved on to the next round. So I'll start eyeing them 3 races and see if we can put together some good enough finish to keep advancing in this thing. Once you get in the dance, it's fun to keep moving along if you find the opportunities.
Well, he is moving along for sure here tonight. Dalton McKenney with the victory this evening at Iowa advances into the next round of the Top It Off Hot Sauce playoffs here for the Grind Cup Series. Congratulations on a job well done, executing that maneuvering through the field to get up there when it mattered the most and pick up the checkered flag here tonight. We'll let you get back to your celebrating there in Victory Lane in just a moment, but first, Dalton, we're giving you the opportunity for some Victory Lane thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Yeah, first of all, I want to shout out Johnny for putting this paint on this car first and foremost. He's our team owner for this league. So anytime I'm out there racing, I'm trying to put on a good show for him and giving him something to root on. So big shout out to him. If you need any paints, get a hold of him. And anyone with the league, it's been a blast racing with a lot of these guys this year, and all the drivers, big shout out to them. Shout out to my teammate Rylan. He came in kind of on the cut line, and he's looking, he had another good run tonight. Not probably where he wanted to be, but hoping we can get him moved along into the next round next week at Bristol. And everyone that puts on the league, and then you guys up in the booth, giving us drivers something to go back and watch. We really appreciate it. It helps us improve week in and week out. So shout out to you guys, and yeah, thank you.
That's Dalton McKenney. He got to burn it down here tonight at the Iowa Speedway as he takes the Red Line 200 here tonight. Congratulations on the great run. Best of luck next week at Bristol as you look ahead to the next round of the postseason.
Thank you, guys.
And Dalton alluded to the fact that the first time we were at Bristol had a good run. He indeed finished inside the top 5 in 4th, so we'll see if he's able to be a player in the outcome of that race next week. But he gets to breathe a sigh of relief, Matt. There's going to be a lot of drivers when the calculations are done that are going to be sweating, whether they're just barely above the cut line or just below the cut line, because a lot can happen in a short amount of time when you're at a track like Bristol.
And Bristol's just unpredictable, where, yes, there's a good amount of the field that, hey, you will have amazing skill at these short tracks, but realistically, short tracks are that for an exact reason. They're unpredictable. You may be running well in the top 3 at any point in time, and hey, maybe a lap car gets an issue, and you run into the lap car as a leader. Hey, man, you just kind of derailed your entire day, so the short tracks are just unpredictable. So I'm really happy for Dalton there. He's managed to get himself secured in a position where he doesn't have to go fight next week.
It's interesting, too, and I don't know how much it plays into it, so I'll get your input on this. If you kind of look, we mentioned about the fact we had been at Iowa earlier on this season. It was daytime conditions. We had 11 cautions for cause. Here tonight, I believe we only had 4 cautions for cause, and then we, of course, had the 2 stage yellows. If we look at Bristol, where we were at previously this season in daytime conditions, we had 10 cautions for cause. We're going to a nighttime version of Bristol. Now, I know Bristol is still Bristol, but does cooler track conditions, maybe a little bit more grip there on that concrete surface, do we see a little bit more of the green flag racing we saw here tonight next week?
I think there's a very good chance. One, I'm always an advocate for nighttime, where, look, in my opinion, cars look prettier at night. But I would say definitely it snugs up the track a little bit, makes it a little less loose unless the track is, ice cold, which, tonight the track temp was about a nice 70-ish degrees, not too hot, not too cold. I think we're going to see a lot of the same, but remember, at Bristol that we're going to next week, that has a lot more banking, and these cars are a little bit unsettled when we do transitions from the banking. So I think we're going to see less incidents, but I think still the traditional Bristol kind of spins are going to be there.
Will be interesting to see the battling that takes place in the last great Coliseum, the first elimination race here of the playoffs. Only 12 drivers are moving on. We know 2 that have locked themselves in through victories. About 3, maybe 4 drivers have locked themselves in on points. We'll fill you in on those scenarios when we get to Bristol next week, but should be a good one. Be sure to join us for that next Wednesday night. Green flag scheduled to fly at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Want to send our thoughts to Scott Rankin, was feeling under the weather here this evening. Hope he feels better. But Matt, I appreciate you sliding in here and joining me up in the booth tonight. Had a blast with you here tonight, calling the action in a thriller and a wild finish here at Iowa.
This is much better from wrecking.
Yeah. I'm sure it is. Well, thank you all for tuning to our coverage here tonight. We'll see you guys next week as the playoffs continue here in the 2025 season for the Esports Oval League Grind Cup Series. For Matthew Rodriguez, I'm Seth Cole. We'll see you guys next Wednesday night as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support